What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, you guys, and let's get into it, all right? Here we are on this, the 5th day of July, sitting here at about $108.1 thousand on the Binance USDT chart. 8 hours, 33 minutes left in the day. It's looking like we are chilling for the weekend, probably not going to do too much. We did move down a little bit yesterday. We had that sell the news event. I had someone asking me, "What news? What news are you talking about?" There's no news. I'm like, "Well, dude, or what was the rumor? Buy the hype, sell the news, right? Buy the rumor, sell the news." Someone was like, "What's the rumor?" The rumor was that there would be the one big beautiful bill passed on July 4th. We've known about that for weeks now, right? That's been the rumor, and I know there's been doubt around it, but that's why it's called a rumor. You don't know if it's a fact or not. You buy the rumor and you sell the news, and the news came out, and down we went. But not that bad. It wasn't that bad, right? It is the weekend. Yesterday is part of that weekend, right? And I wouldn't expect that we move down too much. Typically, and this doesn't mean that it has to be this way, but typically from the closing point of the week, which in this case would be Thursday, to the low point that we close at by the end of the weekend, we don't move more than like 4% down or even like 3.5% down. So I doubt we move, we're at $108,000 now. I doubt that we move below 105K, something like that. But we absolutely could move lower. And we're going to go over that in the short-term stuff here in a second, okay? But looking at this just to get a gauge of where we are, low to high. Let's throw this on the 1 hour time frame now, okay? Looking at this with all of our indicators. Maybe we can keep it with the fibs first. So here, from low to high, you've hit your 236, found some support, looking like you're kind of breaking down here. Being that you are in a relative downtrend here in the 1 hour time frame, right? You've just broken out of your uptrend. You're in a relative downtrend now. I wouldn't be surprised if this continued, right? It's almost like you have a 1, 2, 3 corrective move coming your way, and if this move is corrective, you should see prices potentially down at $105.7 thousand. We've seen Bitcoin do this a couple of times. It actually just did this. If we were looking at the daily time frame, it would actually be, maybe I'll touch back on this later in the video, but we did this exact thing where we found support at the 236 like this, and then we came down and we wicked below it a good bit, but then we found support and then we came back up. Normally you would go to the 382 in that situation, but you didn't. And Bitcoin's actually done that a couple of times. It's been having a bit of a relationship with its 236. It might not be perfect, but it does find support around that area, and it doesn't even go to the 382 lately. So something below the 236, something below this low might be considered. I'm just saying, in a corrective phase, which I think this is, because overall, you zoom out, overall, clearly we are in an uptrend, right? Relatively speaking, we're in a downtrend, and it kind of looks like a bear flag. It kind of looks like a bear flag. If this is a bear flag, but bearish patterns don't perform as well in uptrends, right? We are in an overall uptrend, okay? Bearish patterns don't perform as well in uptrends. If this is a bear flag, I might actually measure it from here just to be conservative, right? I don't know if that's part of the bear flag actually right there. And we put this at the top of the flag right there. That measure move takes us, come on now, I got to get it right. I got to get it specifically on that high. There we go. It takes us right above the 382 there. So prices just below 106K are very possible, moving down with volume. We didn't really retrace with volume. In all fairness, though, this was on the weekend. Yeah, but so is Friday. Friday's a weekend day too. This week at least, because the 4th of July was, none of the stock market. The stock market was closed. A lot of businesses were closed. Traders stepped away from their desk. Right, there's not as much volume, but we actually still did get a lot of volume on the 1 hour time frame here. If we break out of this to the upside and volume returns at above average levels, which we can tell by the histogram here, you see these little dashed lines, and you see how the bars, the volume bars are going above those dashed lines. If we're above the lines, that means it's above average. If we're below the lines, it means it's below average. So whatever directional heading we choose, whether it's up or it's down, whenever volume comes in, I think that'll validate it, especially over the weekend here. But I don't expect to see any crazy kinds of volume. It is the weekend, right? Let's see. Looking at this with the RSI and stuff, we're going to take this away. Maybe I'll just put this. Let's put a line. Okay, I see where it is. We'll put a line right there. This is where the 382 was, right? Is that fair? Is the 382 right there? Look, if we bring it back, you see the 382. It's right there at the base of that candle, or that wick, so we're just going to put it right there. That's the 382, just to kind of have a basis as to how low we might go. If we were to go to our lowest, I maybe we even go a little bit below there, but I doubt it. It actually is common enough to wick below the 382, so we could go below there, but I'm not necessarily expecting that we do. The 1 hour RSI, to me, does look a little bit bearish. I was looking at this last night, and I was bullish, but I flipped bearish because we were bullish back here, but then we didn't go anywhere. We didn't get any volume to persist. Whenever you keep trying, you're making even higher highs, but you're not getting any volume to persist. That I don't like that. That doesn't make me confident that the price is wanting to move up. We've got some indecisive candles, right? Bearish candles here, bearish candles there, bullish candles here, bearish candles. Like it's very tit for tat. It's like a battle. And what I noticed in the RSI here, if we zoom out, if we're looking at this, we've had interactions, and this is not always the best way to do analysis. Don't hold it exactly like this, but you see how we came from the overbought zone. We had a nice little downtrend. We came up, and we're finding turbulence right here at the 50 like this, right? Sometimes you get up here at the 50 and then you just move down, right? Here we found some turbulence, and we'll come back and identify that in a second. Here we found a little bit of turbulence, but to the upside, so we won't count that. But turbulence from the downside, right? Notice how we came down and we had a double bottom right there, right? In the RSI. And I have said that oftentimes when you get this low in the RSI, you would expect another iteration down, right? Just like we had here. Oftentimes you do get multiple iterations. Here you didn't. Here you did. Here you did. Here you didn't. Here you did. Let's see. Find another example of what I'm talking about. Something that looks, and nothing's going to look exactly identical, but something that looks similar, right? I would consider that pretty similar also, but it's a little bit more stretched out. Let's see if we can find something that's a little bit better fit without looking at the price, so we know we're not cherry picking, right? We're almost there. If not, if I can't find anything, we'll just go back to the analysis. But I swear there was one more. I'm just not seeing it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just our only. I like that one as an example, or that there. Okay, there we go. We got a couple of examples right there, right? Where you're wrestling with the 50, but not quite getting above it. Even if you get above it, it's just like barely above it right here, right? Both of these moments. Okay, so we'll take these moments and we'll go back in time, or we'll go forward in time from there, looking at the price, taking the price into consideration. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. We're down. Yeah, we're down. This is back in the day. So if you notice here, you had a move on the price in this moment where the RSI is doing stuff that's very similar to what we're doing now. You had a move in the price that was down, and you had this kind of consolidation phase up, and you came down, right? You came down again. I don't think we're going to do this. I mean, we could, but I would just compare it to this, right? We came back down, and here at least we found a higher low. Here at least we found a higher low, right? But we still came back down to the oversold zone. That's the main point, okay? Go to the next one, which is right here. And again, you have a move down like this. You come up. You even have this ascending triangle look, which is exactly kind of what we have going on right now. You had a little push up here, but there was no volume. Notice also, actually how this, we're not going to look at the price, but just notice how over here, this is on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, right? Notice Sunday was the day that we came down. Notice here, this is also on, I thought this was on Saturday, Sunday, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, well that was Wednesday, not Saturday, Sunday. I thought it was Saturday, Sunday. There must be another one that I'm not seeing. Maybe this one? Would that be similar? I don't know. I was looking at it last night, but I don't want to go too far into it now. I'm getting sidetracked. And we came down lower. You see how we came down lower? It was kind of like a bear flag, and we went down lower. Zoom all the way back out to where we are here. And there's plenty more examples like that, right? There's plenty more examples. We go over here. Our most recent example, we came down. This one here was on Sunday. Yes, the Sunday consolidation. And we actually moved down here at the end of Sunday. And by the end of Sunday, actually, we started to come back up as well. So Sunday was a little bit of a volatile day. But still, the similarities of breaking down, having this, looks like a ascending triangle, and then we went lower, right? We couldn't persist higher. It seems very similar here, right? You came down, ascending triangle look. You're probably going to go lower. At least take your RSI to the oversold zone. That doesn't mean that you have to go lower than this low, as we've seen that one time, but I think it would. I mean, just looking at the, here actually, we'll leave that. Looking at the RSI here, I wish there was a way to just delete things specifically from the RSI and not from anything else on the chart. If we were to drop that low, you know, we were at these similar areas before and we saw a pretty significant drop. I would think that we go lower, yeah, and maybe right to that 382. If not right to the 382, just above it, right? We've seen that happen. It's a little unorthodox, but it's been the thing lately. And even if it's unorthodox, if you're showing consistent behavior of something, that's kind of what I would expect on the next iterations. Looking at the MACD here, we are decaying in bullish momentum, and we're not really going anywhere. So I don't like the way that looks. We've got higher highs in the RSI here. If we're looking at this, higher highs here, and we haven't broken out, right? We've tried to break above the 50, and we haven't done that. I don't like the way that looks. And then the stochastics double topped, had some bearish divergence even on the 1 hour time frame. Likely the stochastics will return down to the oversold zone. Likely that's what's going to happen. And if that happens, all these things, they look bearishly charged. Primarily the RSI is what has me concerned, but both of these don't help either. And when I say concerned, I'm really not that concerned. Like, go down, Bitcoin, go down a whole 1%. It's not a big deal. $108.1 thousand now, moving down a little bit as we're talking about it. 4 hour time frame. We're only on the 1 hour there, man. We got some more stuff to talk about. So 4 hour time frame bouncing off the 40, but you didn't get any results. You didn't persist, right? You had a good thing here. You bounce off the 40. It's a good look. You bounce off the 40 or 35 area in this case, but same difference to me. You had a good result, and you kept going. You found support at the 40. You had a good result right there, literally right off the 40. Had a great result right there. Let's see if we can find an example of what I'm talking about where it's not a good result. I mean, here you went up to the 60, but then you rejected down. Here, right, bounced off the 40, but rejected the 50. That's not a good result, so you went lower. Here you did bounce off the 40, right, and you had a ideal situation kind of happen, but let's see. There's none of these. We've just been so bullish lately, tenaciously bullish lately. Something like this, right, 40, rejected the 50, and actually rejected the 50 just like that 1 hour time frame, kind of had 3 peaks here, and then went lower into the RSI, right? Into the oversold zone of the RSI. Bouncing off the 40 here, we're not really getting that reaction. I mean, it might be too early to say if we really start moving up between now and the end of the day, maybe we can have a positive reaction, but even then, maybe we reject the 60, we get a lower high in this, and then we would still come down. That's kind of, or at least come down to bounce off that 40 again. That would at least be my expectation, but time will tell. It is the weekend again, guys. I think moving down over the weekend is not a bad thing, actually. It's kind of ideal. Call me superstitious, and I'm really not superstitious, but with Bitcoin, I think moving down over the weekend is a better thing than moving up over the weekend, but you don't really move too much. The stochastics have crossed up, which should take you higher, but the fact that now it looks like the slower oscillator is actually pointed downwards, and the faster, they're both looking like they're pointed downwards right now. That one's actually crossed, the blue one's crossed a little bit above the red one, the orange one, whatever color that is. But if this 4 hour candle in the next 21 minutes, if it comes down lower, both of these will be crossed down, getting a bullish cross into the ribbon or into the band here, and then coming down below it. That's not a good look, you guys. 4 hour MACD, it makes me think that we don't have to go lower, but we could go lower, right? We could come down and we bounce off of this zero line. It's very common to do. We actually did that right here, right? This is a bounce, even though you came a little bit below it. That's still a bounce. And if we were to do something like this in that fashion, you know, it's Sunday, it's late Sunday, and then Monday we start coming up, which makes sense, right? We've seen that happen 3 out of 4 times with the examples that we had on the RSI earlier. So all of this is suggestive of a little bit lower in price. Now, let's throw on some fibs and see if we can make sense out of that, right? I'm just trying to justify or validate the reason why I think we might move down today or tomorrow, or both, right? And not that much. High to low here, or low to high, I'm sorry, low to high here. We skimmed the golden ratio. And this what we did today, I guess, early today. Yes, very, very early today. It was last night for me. This is what made me a little bit reserved in my bullish notion, right? We were a little bit more bullish yesterday. I was thinking that we'd move up and that we'd move up to like 110, 111K, clear out some shorts and stuff like that. But when we rejected that 382 perfectly like that, man, that I'm under the impression we're going to the golden ratio, which is at 107.1K to 106.7K. That fits within the range we've identified so far. I did not get much sleep last night, man. I can't talk properly. If we were to go lower, the 786, 886 should be considered, and that's at about 106.2K, 105.7K, still within that range, just above like 105.6K, where the overall 382 is, remember from the beginning. If we were to take, and actually maybe we can leave this up here, if we were to take this low to high, our 1272 is at 106.9K, our 1618 is at 106.5K, primary target zone. It's very possible we go there. A lot of cryptos have liked to find resistance and support at the 1886200 level lately, and that is right there at the 786. 786, 1886, you can't really see it, but that's at $106.2 thousand right here at these areas of support. What did we recently just do? I don't think we went to our 1886. It's probably like a 1414, right? Yeah, we went just above the 1414 here. Golden ratio bounce, 886 rejection. That's not productive. Look, I mean, if we were to go back down to this golden ratio, we likely would find support somewhere around 106.9 to 106.5K, if not lower, and then again, we actually, since from a high to a low, we went to this 1414. Maybe what we do here is we go to this 1414, low to high, right, just below 106.7K. I mean, I could see that happening. But if we go lower, I wouldn't be too worried about it. Anyways, bearish on the 4 hour, bearish on the 1 hour. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Daily time frame moved down a little bit since the beginning of this video. You're overbought in the stochastics. Maybe you need to chill. Maybe you need to come down a little bit. And the thing is here, guys, if we do come down, we can bounce off the 60 like we have before, just below the overboughts and like we have before. That's okay. We don't have to go down too dramatically. Oftentimes, whenever you get overbought in the stochastics, you actually do see kind of continued behavior up here. And even if we do go lower, that might promote lower growth or lower prices than what I'm talking about. But I still don't know if we go below here, right? And again, talking about, I don't know if you guys remember the point that I made earlier, talking about the 236, 382 kind of area here. Normally, whenever you go below the 236 like this, you would expect to find support at the 382, right? Normally, in a situation like this, from a low to a high, I would have no problem calling for the 382 as support, which is right there at $105.6 thousand. But because we're exhibiting this behavior where we go a little bit below the 236 like this, and normally you would go to the 382, but we didn't do that last time, and we haven't done that actually any of these times. We've shown so much respect to the 236. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't go below this low. If we were to go below this low, maybe we come back to the 236. We find support at about 102K, maybe. And again, that would be if we go lower than my expectation. But again, to make it clear, in case it's not clear, I don't believe we're going to go below 105.5, 105.6K. I don't believe that we go below this low. But in the event that we do, we probably find support around 101, 102K. And if things are at their worst, and maybe I'm wrong about it entirely, we go down to the 382, we go down and find support at 96K, something like that, and then from there we will continue to rise, seeing new all-time highs, and this would push back our July expectations. We'd probably just be breaking out to new all-time highs at the end of July, and thus with that, our weekly time frame would change, our new all-time high time frame would change. We'd probably not top off in August, but September at that rate at about $170,000 to $190,000, but time will tell. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if I have anything else to say. I've gone in depth, probably enough to bore anybody who's listened long enough. So hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. All right, take care of yourselves. Bye bye.